At the time I'm recording this video, the dollar is retailing at 147 Kenyan shillings per dollar. Fuel prices have risen so high that super petrol is retailing at between 208 to 211 shillings per liter. What does this mean? This means that the economy is not doing well. It means that goods and services prices are going up. It means that companies are closing down, companies are downsizing, families are losing their livelihoods. It means that businesses are not doing well. It means that the income that you had last year cannot sustain you well this year. And what that calls for is not for you to lay down and give up. That calls for action on your part. No one is coming to save you except yourself. So, buckle down and let's learn how to survive this economy and thrive in it. How do you survive in such an economy where the driving forces of prices are just out of control? Like I said, this is not a negative video. We are going to learn how to survive and thrive. The first thing you need to do is to evaluate your current situation. Where are you at? What is your income? What are your expenses? Is your income stable? And by that I mean, are you assured of a particular sum at the end of the month or the end of the week, whichever way you receive your paycheck? Or is it variable in that you are never sure what your income would be month by month? Whichever the case, you are supposed to evaluate your situation, income versus expenditure. What are you spending your money on? Okay? How are you spending your money? Because right now, that income is the tool you're going to use to survive and thrive. There is no other way. So let's get into this. How much do you earn? That is a question for you. How much actually gets into your account at the end of the month? Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, how much is left for running the household? If you're a stay-at-home dad, how much is left to run the household? That is your income. The money you actually get to hold and spend. How much is it? Because that will be your tool. That is what is going to save you. Okay? So, once you determine what your income is and determine what your expenditures are, the expenditures are also broken down. Okay? You have what we call the fixed expenditures. Things like rent, you have to pay. You know how much you use for food. So we have fixed and we have the variables. School fees. Okay. Now once you determine what is your fixed expenditure, the ones you must pay at the end of every month, what are your variables? Now the variables is where you can play around a bit. Okay? Depending on your situation, you might be able even to change the fixed, but we're coming to that in a moment. How much do you spend? As Dave Ramsey says, that expenses are tasks you assign your money to do. So, do you assign your money tasks, or the tasks assign themselves to your money. Who is the boss of your money? How to thrive. Budget. It's a word that most of us don't want to hear because of the misconceptions we've had about budgeting. When you think of budget, what comes to your mind? Is it something positive or negative? A budget is a positive thing, but you must train your mind to look at it that way. If you do your budget right, it is going to have a very positive impact on your income. Let's look at the budget. The budget is the key to financial freedom or independence. What do you really want your money to do? That's what a budget is. And it's totally, entirely up to you. This is your money. You get to tell it what to do. And the only way to do that is via budget. A budget is not a straitjacket. It's not there to curb your fun. It's there to tell your money what to do. What is a budget to you? For many years, I considered it a limiting tool. It's limiting my fun. It's limiting how I want to use my money. But if done right, a budget is the best thing that can. Six steps to financial freedom. 6 steps to budget. Number 1, list your net income. That is both the main and the side hustles. List all the money that is coming in. Number 2, list your expenses. Label your fixed and variable expenses. Everything, even the airtime, even the money you send your parents back in the village. List every expense because that is money coming out. Even debts, repayment of debts. When you're paying a loan, that is an expense. Number 3, subtract expenses from income. Number 4, track your expenses the whole month. Track your expenses for the whole month. Number 5, make a new budget before the month begins. Very important. Number 6, track your progress. Number 7, adjust your habits. Now I'll go over the list with a bit of explanation. When you say you list your net income, if you are a stay-at-home mom, list every money you're given. If you're given daily, if you're given weekly, is it the same amount? If you're given monthly, is it the same amount? List it down. Then you know what you're working with. Remember, this is your tool. Number 2, list all your expenses. Oftentimes we ignore these small things, like you pass by a coffee shop, take some coffee, you take a ride in a boda from point A to point B, you buy 50 shillings worth of airtime, you buy 20 shillings worth of airtime, you buy bundles. Those are expenses. That's money coming out of your wallet. List every single expense, even if it is just 10 shillings. That's still money. It builds up, and it is surprising how these little expenses do build up. Number 3, subtract your expenses from your income. Now this is where surprises come in. You'd be surprised at how much you spend. When you subtract it from your income, you'll either get a negative number, a positive number, or a zero. Where do you fall? This is like a self-discovery journey. Number 4, track your expenses the whole month. So that means at the beginning of one month, you tell yourself, from October the 1st, I'm going to write down every little expense. The big, the small, the medium. Write them down. And then at the end of the month, just before the other month begins, and you're about to make your budget, go over the expenses and see, where am I bleeding money? Because chances are that you are. Where can I adjust? Where can I add? Where can I subtract? What can I drop? What can I add? What can I do better? Always strive to do better. Okay. Number 5, make a budget before the beginning of the month. Very important. At the end of one month, before the next one, make a budget. Before that money hits your account, make a budget. Very important. Don't want to be derailed. Number 6, track your progress. Throughout the month, you'll be comparing your expenses vis-a-vis your budget. Are you keeping to the budget? And don't worry, most people don't get it right the first time. Okay? But just starting and tracking your progress is a big step that most people never get to do. So pat yourself on the back. Don't castigate yourself too much. Track your progress. See where you're failing. See where you're excelling. Because that will be useful in the coming month's budget. You always strive for better. Okay? Number 7, adjust your habits. Once you have tracked your progress, you have seen where you're failing, you have seen where you're progressing well, adjust your habits. Adjust your habits. Adjust your habits. If you find that you're eating out too much and it is costing you, adjust your habits. You can decide, no, instead of eating 3 days a week outside in the restaurants, I'll be eating once a week until I get back on track. Or I'll be cooking in the house until I get back on the track. If you've been ordering, remember when you order food, there's the costs associated with it. No, from work, I'll be passing by my favorite joint and picking the food myself. That is if you must eat from a restaurant or you must order out. Reducing those small expenses do add up. The convenience fee that you're being charged, they do add up. Okay? So please, if you do the 7 steps that we talked about, within the first month, I assure you, you will notice a change in your attitude, in your money. And your attitude towards money is the most important thing here. It's not an academic thing. Financial independence is not an academic thing. It's a mindset. That's all you need to change your mindset. And it is a gradual process. Don't beat yourself up if you fail in 1 or 2 items. That means you'll have excelled in the others. Okay? And remember, you're not alone. Many people are struggling, but we always strive to do better. Now, there are many kinds of budgets out there. When you do your research, you'll find out. But the one that I swear by is the zero-based budget. What is the zero-based budget? This is a budget that you make when you compare your income versus expenditure. You ensure that when you subtract your expenses from your income, the result should be 0. Yes. That does not mean that at the end of it, you do not have a balance. You have a zero balance in your account. No. So what is a zero-based budget? A zero-based budget means that every amount of money that comes in as your income is accounted for. It means your money is being given a task. Every coin is given a task. Okay? So how do you go about making a zero-based budget? You can make a list. And a list can go like giving or charity. If you're a Christian, most likely you're giving your tithe, and that is usually 10% of your income. So you'll take your 10% and put it aside. Then you have the savings. You always say pay yourself first. So depending on your goals, and for those who are following Dave Ramsey, depending on where you are in baby steps, the 7 baby steps, you put your savings. Number 3, the 4 walls. What is the 4 walls? You look at priority bills like food, your shelter, your utilities, and transportation. Have you taken care of your 4 walls? Very important. Then the other essentials can be your number 4. Insurance, paying off debts and loans, childcare, airtime. Okay? Those are the other essentials that help you to run your life smoothly. And then you have the extras. That is the entertainment, the restaurant and eating out, ordering in, all those things that make your life fun. Those are the extras. Now, once you have these 5 categories, the giving, that is the charity, the savings, the 4 walls, other essentials and extras, you look at them and check, what am I giving? What percentage am I giving for each category out of my income? And that will differ from household to household. So I'm not going to tell you this would be the percentage for your rent, this would be percentage for this. I know there are people who do that. I will not. It depends on your situation. But you have them covered. Now, once you have done this, what is the next step? What next after making the list? Because at this point, we are at number 2. The next step is to subtract. After making the list, what is next? You need to subtract your expenses from your income. And how is that going to help? When you subtract your expenses from your income, you are trying to create a picture of what remains. What remains after the expenses? Are you using your money efficiently? The zero-based budget is supposed to help you assign every coin that you make to a task. Okay? And as you can see from the list I gave, the zero-based budget does not mean that you'll have a zero balance in your account, because there is the savings part. What we need to do is to subtract your expenses from the income and get a zero value. If you do that and you're getting a negative value, that means that you're living beyond your means. That means your expenditure is higher than your income. And remember, we said that your income is the tool you will use to get your financial freedom. If you have looked at all the possible costs, all the possible ways you can cut costs, and still the expenditures are higher, then we will talk about that in another video, where you may need to create other streams of income to boost whatever is getting in right now. But let's talk about what you have right now, because that is the tool in your hand. We say that it is the stick that you have in your hand that will be used to kill a snake. Okay? Not the one you will acquire tomorrow. So using the income you have at hand, we want the income to equal income minus expenses to equal to 0. So if it is equal to negative, that means you are living beyond your means. You go back to your list. If you had assigned some money for eating out, maybe it will be time to say, no, I'll now be cooking and carrying packed lunch. You will need a bit of discipline. It might pinch at some point, but remember, we are trying to do better. We are trying to survive and thrive. In this economy, we cannot afford to do things the way we used to. We must change. We must do better. Now, if you subtract and you get a positive value, that means that there is some money that is left hanging that has not been assigned a task. And what that means is that that money will find a task, and it might be a frivolous task. What do? You take that money, for example, if it is 2,000 shillings, and assign it. At this point, I would recommend you assign it to your savings, because I am assuming that while you are listing where you will use your money, you had taken care of your 4 walls, you have taken care of your other essentials, you have taken care of giving, you have taken care of savings, and you have taken care of entertainment. So if there's still money left over, that means the best and wisest thing to do is to assign it to your savings. Later on in other videos, I'm going to talk about creating an emergency fund, creating the retirement fund, all these savings. But for now, I would advise that you put it into your savings. It could be an emergency saving, it could be a long-time saving. Remember, all we need to do is to customize to our own needs. There are people who build up the emergency funds, now they're building up retirement funds or college fees and all that. Okay? So at this point, I just want you to assign that money, the positive money that is left hanging, to some task, so that it is not spent frivolously. You spend a lot of hours and a lot of your time trying to earn this money. A lot of energy, sweat and blood goes into it. You should not allow this money to be frivolously spent. Now, at this point, I would like to congratulate you, because you have managed to create a zero-based budget. The next task in the next 1 month is to follow this budget, or in the next period before your next paycheck, is to follow this budget as strictly as you possibly can. Now, don't worry, maybe you might stumble at some point, but don't beat yourself up. We are trying to do better. Okay? Most people may not get it 100% in the first month, but as you continue doing this as a routine, you will get better and you will start seeing positive changes in your bank account. Next time, I will talk about other variables in your expenditure that you can cut down on, and creative ways to make more money, creative ways to cut down on expenditure without really compromising your lifestyle. Until then, my request is that you like this video so that the algorithms can bring it up for more people to watch. My request is that you subscribe to my channel so that you may be notified when I put up new videos, and you may share with friends. Hit that notification bell so that the moment I post a video, you'll be among the first people to see it. Until then, bye-bye.